We used to change the lyrics to songs for the fun of it.
Okay.
And when you do that, everybody does it, but people start noticing that yours is better.
Okay.
So if there's a popular tune, you change the words.
Yeah.
For the fun of it, write it on the paper, everybody laughs, you throw it in the bin. But after a while, I started thinking, why are you throwing all this away? I started seeing that there's a value in that thing which is meant to be a joke.
I love that word. Value
Yeah.
in the words. Hello, you are welcome to the OBA podcast. I'd like to personally welcome you. My name is Oyinlola Bukiakonde, OBA, and I'm excited to be bringing to you today the maiden one, an incredible gentleman, Dr. Wilson, who's going to be sharing some great thoughts that I'd like you to kindly take a minute to listen, take time to write if you need to write. But at the end of the day, I will be asking you what's your take home and what would you be doing differently after today. So you are welcome. I remember a lady saying, Margaret Fuller saying that today's readers are tomorrow's leaders. And it would be nice to hear what Dr. Wilson think about that. But before we get to that, please help me to appreciate and welcome Dr. Wilson to the studio.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. So, who is Dr. Wilson? Could you tell us a bit about him?
Well, I'll describe myself as a Nigerian, British Nigerian, and I work as a medical doctor in Birmingham, UK, and I'm also a writer.
Wow. I like the fact that you mentioned that you're a writer, apart from being a medical doctor. And that really kind of gets me because I would have thought a life of a medical doctor, somebody in the medical field, would be so busy they would hardly even have time to write anything, not to talk of being an author. And you are not just an author, from my understanding, you are an author of many books. Please tell us, how do you juggle being a medical doctor, as somebody a medical professional, and still being able to write and be author of many books?
Well, people have all kinds of misconceptions about the life of a doctor. One thing you have to bear in mind is the doctors actually write all day.
Oh, yes, that's true.
They talk to patients all day.
That's true.
We call the initial consultation, we describe it as history taking.
Okay.
To know why somebody is presented and a bit about their life and their symptoms and how the symptoms impede or affect their lives. So you're writing all day, you're talking to people all day, talking about their professions. So if you've worked in an area for maybe about 4 years, 5 years, you basically know everything that's going on. So that actually equips you for writing because you're writing all day.
That's true.
So, like, sometimes I'll be at work on Monday morning and I might know what happened over the weekend.
Okay.
Because if people go drinking, they have a fight. I know what the fight was, et cetera, et cetera. So people come in with the problems, and anything that happens in society, it ends up with a doctor.
That's true.
If you're too happy, you drink, you break your leg, you'll come.
Looking for a doctor.
With your woman and you get pregnant, you'll come.
That's true.
So we tend to know what's going on in society, and we make a lot of notes.
Okay.
But these are factual notes, medical notes. So the skill will be to convert the stories
Right.
into an entertaining, informative, readable document. So that's where maybe talent and practice comes in. But the time to write, the ability to write, listening skills, research skills, all doctors have it.
Wow, I like that. But it's interesting to know that it's not all doctors, or there are not many doctors that are actually authors, really, in as much as they have the ability and the opportunity to do so. But you've like kind of taken your time to write specifics. Are there any reason why you've decided to write in the areas that you've written on?
The decision to write it came seriously when towards the end of medical school. I used to write poems
Okay.
with my
I love writing poems too.
and we used to change the lyrics to songs for the fun of it.
Okay.
And when you do that, everybody does it, but people start noticing that yours is better.
Okay.
So if there's a popular tune, you change the words.
Yeah.
For the fun of it, write it on the paper, everybody laughs, you throw it in the bin. But after a while, I started thinking, why are you throwing all this away? I started seeing that there's a value in that thing which is meant to be a joke.
I love that word. Value
Yeah.
in the words.
Yeah. So slowly from playing, you get serious. You know, there's a proverb we say, not from clap, then they enter dance. So
Could you interpret that, please?
you start clapping, but among the people who are clapping, when the
Yes.
music is playing,
Yes.
clapping their feet,
Yeah.
you'll get the dancers recruited from there.
Ah.
So when you start gradually, people tell you, oh, that line you said was interesting.
Okay.
So people tell you, then after a while, you view yourself as someone who says interesting lines. And then one day you write a poem and people like it. And then slowly you take it seriously. Maybe somebody makes a comment and then you decide, okay, it's time to take it seriously because there is a skill there and a talent.
Wow. I love what you said in terms of the value on words, the value on how people take it, what they listen to. But can I ask you, what are the titles of the books you've written and why those books?
Well, I wrote a poetry collection, My Time, and that was how that came about was I had written poems in online, and one day I just thought, why don't I just put all of them together
Okay.
into a book? You know, there's a lot of plagiarism, so when I write something, everybody uses it. So I thought, why don't you just put it in the book? Because these people have no.
I love that. I love that.
So I wrote this popular Nigerian pidgin version of Psalm 23.
Okay.
Everywhere, you know, and nobody was putting my name at the bottom of it. So I thought, well, why don't you put that in the book and put the other poems? So I had a poetry collection.
Okay.
And then, so I then decided to write a book about food, which is a Nigerian food philosopher, because I had written some articles about food. And I was just sitting down thinking one day about articles I'd written, and I realized I had quite a few about food. And I had a poem, Ukodo Tonight, which is quite popular, which was obviously about food. Ukodo is food, yams and pepper soup, basically.
Okay.
So I thought, why don't you gather all your poems together on
Right.
food? And then when I saw the poems, I said, why don't you write a book? So I now wrote The Nigerian Food Philosopher.
Really?
About food-related cultural sort of episodes in Nigeria. So like when you go to parties, the cue to eat, how people behave, because I watch everybody.
Amazing. Amazing.
So basically, I find it interesting how people behave around food. So that's how that book came about. And you can only write a book about what you find interesting and what you look.
That's true. I was just going to say that it must be of interest to you too, for you to take your time to compile and put all this together.
It's what we call amebo. It's or monitoring spirits. It's just watching people. You know. So when somebody's on the queue, you know, when you go to a party buffet, they put one spoon of jollof, the guy's not moving.
Exactly. So where's the rest?
The person serving is.
Come on, put some more.
Some men will say, you see me as I beat like this. So they now put an extra spoon. So you watch all these things, how people behave. Or another interesting one is even when we're young, we'll go to buy. You go to the booker, you know, in the booker there'll be a big basin of stew.
Yeah.
And some people will be insisting that I want that chicken.
Exactly. They would literally point it to the
All
one.
the chicken are the same. They say no. Then the lady will put the spoon, bring it out. The guy will say, not that one, that one, that one. As if he and the chicken are in a relationship. You know? So when you watch people's behavior, which is totally, it's erratic behavior. You just look at the pomo and say, that's the pomo I want. The one in the corner.
The round one.
Not that one. And people on the queue are getting frustrated, like, oh boy, choose big corner. So all those behaviors around food, I watch them.
Yeah.
And I think about them. And I watch people how they get their bar soup and wash their hands in a ritualistic manner. And some people would tilt their neck while they cup their pie. So people have different things, how they behave.
My goodness.
And I enjoy looking at people.
I was just going to say, you must have literally taken time to look and watch. Because it never dawned on me that they do tilt their heads to eat sometimes. But thinking about it now, I can remember some faces and some people that actually done that.
Even the way people wash their hands, they don't wash for hygiene. They wash for ritual. So you bring the water, the guy puts his hand and does the same movements, flickers the finger. The thing is not clean. And he has done what it's almost like anointing his hand with water. And he starts to eat. And the way people cut their bar from the same place. So those who cut at 5 o'clock, if their bar is round, they cut at 5. Some will dip the soup, but others like to dramatize. They roll the soup. So everybody has a behavior with food.
Yes.
So the Nigerian food philosopher is a Nigerian watching people and their food, watching the government provide food, watching us import food. When you go to a funeral, how people eat, etc. So food is a big thing.
Wow.
And you watch it. Of course, there's the medical side, nutrition and all that. So you watch it and then you write the book, So that's what the whole thing is about. Nigerians and their food.
I'm opened up to another side and perspective of food today because I've never seen it like that. Or I don't think I've even ever taken a minute to look at how people eat or their interest in food until you said it. And I cannot remember that I've even seen some of those pictures and in films. I've seen people behave exactly the way you've described it. Wow, that's amazing. Which other books have you written?
The current book, which is out, is called It Takes a Village.
Wow. Tell us about that. It takes a village. I'm wondering.
So the premise is anything you want to do requires the input of everybody.
Wow.
Everybody plays a part.
That's like saying collaboration, isn't it?
But as Nelson Mandela and Obama said, Ubuntu. So it's a story about my education.
Okay.
And to be educated requires the combined efforts of basically your parents who push you out the house and pay the fees.
Yeah.
And the teachers, the schools, and then society who teaches you the good and the bad.
Yeah.
The playground that teaches you the good and bad, the culture of the school, culture of society, then the church that I attended. So how it came about was in 2017, we had a reunion, 38th reunion of my medical class.
Okay.
And when we came together, the reason I went was when I had graduated 30 years ago, I shouted, I said...
Really? Did you just say 30?
30. That was in 2017, so do the maths. So,
wow.
Because when you graduate and you're doing your job...
Are you sure you're 40?
Well, I'm 35. I have a Luwale's birth certificate, but that's a different matter. So, so when I saw 30 years, I thought it was a time of Thanksgiving, So we went. People started talking.
Okay.
But from the kinds of things people were saying, reminiscing, I now thought, my children don't know all this, So wouldn't it be good if we put the whole story together? That's the university. So I wrote my university bit. But then I thought, it's not enough for a book. So I thought about the primary school, secondary school, I knew that was going to be hard because in those days, if you want to research it, there's no social media to get the answers. Yeah. You'll have to interview people.
That's true.
So I was a bit reluctant, but I did it, and 8 years later, the book's ready.
Wow. In relation to what you've just said about the book, It Takes a Village, would you advise that in our time? Because you just said that you started medical school maybe 30 years ago, thereabout, yeah? More than that. Yeah, over 30 years now. And looking at now, our time, this generation, would you advise that people get involved in upbringing of the children?
Yes, I mean, all parents are involved
Yeah.
in the upbringing of the children. And one of the advantages of reading this kind of book is you know what you've been through, but when you read somebody else's account, you recollect and reflect on your own account, and then you're able to imagine what it is like for the child growing up. So you might modify how you relate with the child. So reading. Sometimes I don't remember what I included in the book or not, but we used to clap for the people who do well in class.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
To clap. There was a girl who the teacher made all of us stand and clap.
Can clap.
We used to clap.
You were funny.
And so it breeds a bit of
jealousy.
It breeds bad blood, Well, you don't know the bad blood is there. It's there because of that kind of praising the person who came first. So when there was time, when we got into secondary school, O-level, everyone wanted to know her result in O-level to see if she's still the boss, because people don't consider that.
Okay.
So that's the problem. We're fiercely competitive.
Definitely.
So when the teacher puts someone on a pedestal, everybody becomes competitive. The class was just absolutely competitive. It was like Olympics. Primary school was Olympics.
Wow.
If I have on my report cards, when people see my report cards, I'm getting 90% in everything and I'm 15th in class. People are shouting, who came first?
Exactly. What did they get?
They won't let you come first.
Hey.
You will not come first. You will. 6 years in primary school, I came first once in a weekly tally.
Okay.
Because we had a weekly report.
Yeah.
Because, well, I may have other reports that we have. You lose some, but it was very competitive. So, which has its good side, bad side. So when you read about it, then you look at your child, and you're able to modify your behavior so that you don't put too much pressure. However, we're Nigerian. So now, even when you modify your behavior, that's doing well, excelling. You can, you have to excel. So, but you modify your behavior and don't force somebody who is an artist to be an engineer. That's how you modify your behavior.
Right. Thinking about the bit about competition and all that, and the bit we've read about your book, that particular one, It Takes a Village. I was able to understand that in as much as you are the father or the mother of the child, the people that surrounds the child, the primary school, secondary school, aunties, uncles, they all have a part to play.
Yeah.
Everybody has a part to play. Would you say that's happening now?
Of course. Even today, everybody is the sum total of the inputs they have. So, like schools in England where we live, even if you gave every single school the same textbook and curriculum, the behavior in the playground is different.
So true.
So it's not, schools is not by book. So Oxford, Cambridge, or whichever university, they all use the same books, but there's a culture. So sometimes when people pay for private education, they're not paying for teacher and the book, they are paying for culture.
Wow, I love that.
The culture in the playground.
Culture. And
it's the culture and the attitude that determines the kind of resilience and the kind of ambition you have. Because you could, if you're in a room with people who are very ambitious, what do you want to do when you leave school? They tell you. This one tells you. If you were planning one rubbish, you upgrade it. You quickly upgrade. You upgrade what is in your mind.
Exactly.
Peer pressure. So peer pressure is there, but it can be positive. So there are people who, in some schools, you might be forcing them to read, but when you put them in another kind of class, they'll just up their game instantly. So it's not just the culture is most important. The culture and the attitude.
That's another conversation. That's a conversation for another day, definitely, because it's something I feel people need to learn. That's why there's a need for people to get your book, because there's just so much to learn from that book. For us to understand that it's not just my child, leave my child alone. It's about the fact that we all have a part to play to make things happen. And the positive competition makes a difference. A lot of children have noticed that they have nothing to even compete against. It's like they just leave. But when you're in the right environment, the right culture, you're stirred up to do better. Yeah. You check what you're doing. Your decisions are determined by your environment, which is such a key. I'm going to ask you one more question or a few more questions about your book. But I just felt to read something from here. One of the, I've been like, in relation to working for this moment, I was looking at some of the statistics that are out there, and I found that Robert Gilbert sold 53,000 copies of his book. 53,000 copies. There's one called The Surrogate Housemaid that sold 13,638 copies. And what I'm beginning to find out when I was reading and looking at this is that I realized that people keep saying nobody's reading anymore. They're not reading. I find that I don't find it to be the truth. Because looking at the number of copies people are selling, you remember Secret? There's a book called Secret. It sold 8,372 copies. That's just the paperback. There is a market for books. And I would like you to agree or disagree with me on this, because I noticed that some of my tribe, they begin to think, oh, book is not so important. And so many people have depth of information like you to pass around, but they don't bother. They think, oh, just a waste of time, waste of money, and they don't bother. But somebody that sold even 3,000 copies, that's a good amount of money. And I was at an event, self-publishing by Mark, and I know some people that listen to me might know Mark. Some of the people that were interviewed, they bought their houses cash down from the sales of books. So I'm beginning to find out that books, one, are still selling, people are still reading. And for those that are passionate about getting their books out there, not just necessarily the money that they're bringing in or the money they're going to get, but to change lives. Because when I think about your book, It Takes a Village, that's a book that will give so much liberty to somebody that seems to be stuck and think, oh, I don't even know what to do. I don't know how to get out there. I don't know what to do anymore. So could you please kind of share your thoughts on the importance of reading and why we need to write?
Yeah, I mean, reading is tied to education. You know, we need to learn. It's just a natural thing. As a natural fact of life. If you don't learn new things, you start you start being
still
irrelevant. You start going backwards.
Yeah.
You know. So there's a need to learn.
Yeah.
And there's a need to develop oneself. Now, people at different times will look down on academic things and say it's a complete waste of time. In Nigerian culture, people say, oh, don't read so much, it's a waste of time. The popular song, my brother, make you no follow book, look am and go your way. Follow.
What does that mean?
It's a song. Follow is a song.
Okay.
Okay, it means look at the book, but don't follow the book. Use your common sense and sort yourself out with improvisation.
Wow.
Now, the ironic thing about it is the author, the composer of that song, was not known to be going out in Lagos. He's reading he has books, and he wakes up and plays saxophone all day and read all day.
Wow.
All his songs show that there is some academic background to the songs and research. So you see people will say, oh, you don't need to read. Everybody say, yeah, let's relax. But then you take a song like ITT, and you're being told the pit latrine, the names in every country. You know, for Yoruba land, or Demba land, Sacramento, or something. You know, how are you going to know all these things if you don't research?
Exactly.
You know? And the songs of all the songwriters in Nigeria, you know, Fela has the most researched songs. He does the most academic rigor behind the songs. You know, that's why the songs last.
That's
and
true.
they're like thesis, societal behavior, like yellow fever, deals with body image. So the thing is, you must read to get the information and then be able to write. So if you don't read, you won't have the information to write. That's why many people just sample what people have said. To write originally, you must do thinking, you must read, and you must write.
That's true.
A nation will not develop without people reading. I mean, how are you going to develop scientifically if you don't read? So another popular slang is education as slang and as scam. The person who says education as scam is posting it on Facebook, owned by Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes.
All right. He went to school and his developers are all educated.
Yes.
So it's a bit ironic that somebody who says education is a scam is using technology from morning till night, developed by educated people.
Wow.
So the foolishness is on the person who is saying it. Because if you have any sense, you will know that if you think education is a scam, then don't use the products of educated people. So you need education. It's it'd be embarrassing to even have to convince anybody that you need to read.
Yeah.
It's the height of laziness to take pride in ignorance and start to improvise. You know, when people will have conjecture, they don't know, and they just make it up. And that's why you get rumors. And so you must, that research thing must be there. And for our country, you know, we get many of our lecturers who just go Google and fake paper and say they've written a scientific paper. There has to be an academic rigor.
Definitely.
And you will not develop a society without books, without reading. You know, you have to develop. So it's a no-brainer.
Indeed, reading gives us the ability to go higher, to gain grounds and climb better. And I like what you said in terms of it would be ignorant to say that reading is so important. Reading is. And to an author out there or somebody that wants to be an author that is thinking, this can wait, I can do this later. What have you got to say to the person?
I would say if you have a conviction to write something, then write it. You're not writing for the readership. Well, I'll bring Christianity into it. Like we Christians, I mean, I met a pastor who told me he has no time to read.
He has no time to read?
He doesn't like reading.
Okay.
He only reads Bible and prays. Now, the thing is, even this, the audience is important, but you can't think of audience all the time.
Yeah.
If you have an idea in your mind and one person will run with it, that one person could be a great person.
That's true.
So you don't necessarily need to be known throughout the world that I wrote this. If you get the conviction to write, then you write it. Because when you've written it, if you don't write it, what are you going to be doing with your time?
Yeah.
You might as well write it and then somebody else may run with it.
Yeah.
So the way I look at writing is it's something which is a skill, a talent. It won't be there forever.
That's true.
How do you know you'll be witty forever? Somebody could sit with you and you're laughing. You say, "Oh, this guy's funny." Come 10 years time, God has taken the app from his brain.
Wow.
He can't rub two jokes together. So if you find the ability is there to do now,
then do it now. Do it now.
And then the future will take care of itself. So it's the same with any other skill people have. If you're a good painter and you say, "If I paint, who will buy it?" Do I know?
Exactly. Paint first. You go ahead and paint.
And then see how it goes.
Wow, I can sit with you all day. I can just be here all night. You just have so much to say, so much to share. And I'm going to be asking you about where we can find your books and titles as well. But just before that, I want to also acknowledge the gift of having you here today. One being the very first on the OBA broadcast. It's such an honor to have you, and also to acknowledge the you are so talented and gifted, and I do not want to take that for granted. So I want to say thank you so much for being here and taking time out of no time to be here. I want to say to somebody, let's know, what are you going to do differently after listening to Dr. Wilson? What would you be doing from today, not even tomorrow? What are those things that are in your heart that needs to be birthed, that you're struggling? That's why we're here. We will help you. Connect with us. Write to us. We will help you to find that dream, to bring it out, to help you to navigate what you need to be doing. Because, like Dr. Wilson said, the issue is about the now. It's not tomorrow, because nobody has tomorrow in their hands, but you have today. And the gifting, the ideas, the grace over your life needs to be executed now. So, Dr. Wilson, where can we find your book, sir?
So It Takes a Village is available on Amazon. There are other titles there are other books with the same title. So, but Wilson Oriuno, It Takes a Village on Amazon. Then you will find a Niger Food Philosopher there also. So those are the two books available now. Hopefully, with time, it'll be available in other.
So we should be looking out for some more as well.
Yeah. I'll have more books to come. But It Takes a Village is the one for now, which, people are, and I've got very kind reviews from people, so I'm quite grateful for that.
Oh, amazing. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. What would be your final take? What would you want to leave the audience with today, sir?
Yeah, I would like people to do their own thinking. So I can't tell you how to live your life, but you need to reflect. So when you read other people's stories, you're basically going to reflect about your own life and make a sort of resolution or conclusion to leave the world in a better place than you found it. So you must harness the things, your experiences, and see how you could marshal them into action so that you can be of help to somebody else. So It Takes a Village. It is funny. It is witty. It has things that will make you laugh. But the key thing is a child growing up needs support, and as those who have the means should think about how they might be able to support younger ones in their quest to gain knowledge and make something of themselves in this life.
Wow, fantastic. You've heard it. Go and do something. Just go and be intentional. That's what it's about. And that's what it's all about. For you to get up to go and do something, because you matter, you're unique, and you're uniquely unique. Nobody can be like you. Be yourself and run with that which God has given you. Thank you for joining. See you next time.